What is up, world? Brian Tate here. In my last video, I alluded to something that was in the works, and man, I'm happy to announce that it's here. It's here. My interview with Mark Wills and the loan signing system creator. I was recently featured in the um, on the road series with Mark Wills, documenting my journey as being a notary loan signing agent here in Los Angeles, California. For those of you guys who are just subscribed to my channel, and you do or you don't know what the loan signing system is, the loan signing system is basically Mark's course that teaches people everything from A to Z on how to go about not only becoming a notary signing agent, but how to get business from signing services, then eventually grow your business to where you could start getting what's called direct clients, basically, instead of splitting a fee with a middleman, in essence, like the signing services. You can work directly for title offices, escrow officers, and also get signings from real estate agents, loan officers, and pretty much any mortgage professionals. The system is outlined in a very, very thorough way to help you grow the businesses you want. My last 2 months in this business, from taking Mark's course in January of 2021, I earned 12.9K, and then last month of February, I earned 17.2K. So I wouldn't be on where I am today in this business if it wasn't for Mark's course. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend the six-figure option because it's the one that's going to propel you the fastest to the success that you want, you desire and deserve. So with that being said, I'm going to post the remainder of the clip from our interview for you guys to see here. And please subscribe. Let me know what other questions or comments that you guys have. Make sure you have your Kleenex box near, because a lot of people have said that my story was a tearjerker. So with that being said, I love you guys, and hopefully you guys get value from this interview. And here it goes in 3, 2, 1.
Can you tell everybody how much money you made last month?
Last month, I made $17,200. To be honest, it still doesn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real. It's a blessing knowing that you make more than 99% of people. It's crazy. This interview is for me, for the culture. Like there's not a lot of people like me that come from. I grew up in South Central LA. I grew up on welfare. There's not a lot of people that look like me doing stuff like this. So I wanted to be inspiration to other people as well.
Another episode of On the Road with signing agent Brian out in Los Angeles, California. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. I know it's a Sunday thing. I know you have a family. Thank you for taking some time away from them to inspire others. So,
of course,
let's just get into this, man. Can you tell everybody how much money you made last month?
Last month, I made $17,200.
Say that one more time.
$17,200.
And I asked you to say it because you're smiling ear to ear when you say that. When you say that out loud, man, how do you feel? Tell me about the emotions going through when you're like, I made $17,000 in 30 days.
To be honest, it still doesn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real. It's a blessing. Man, it's just crazy. It's just like knowing that you make more than 99% of people. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know, and you got a family, and I can't wait to talk about your journey. You know, what I love about your journey too, Brian, is this isn't one of those stories where, hey, Mark, I made $17,000 in my third month.
Right.
This has been a build, you know what I mean? And so I want to take people through the journey and let them know that, not every one of these stories about, oh, I made money overnight. This was a building process. And so I'm excited about sharing your story, man. So
sure.
Let's just kind of start from the very beginning, though. I'd really like to bring up people's journeys to let know people from all different walks of life can build this business, man. So take us back to kind of beginning on why you became a signing agent, why you chose this path. And we'll kind of start there, and we'll tell people your story because it's inspiring.
For sure. As I mentioned before we started, I had a pretty prestigious job, and I got injured at that job. And so I basically, because I have a family,
I went to a job that I felt like was the only thing that I could do that wouldn't, exacerbate my injury. But the pay difference was crazy. Like I took a pay cut to go there. The job definitely wasn't a fulfilling job, but at the end of the day, it was paying the bills. It definitely wasn't a job that I was proud of. So I had a lot of things going on. Like I was supposed to I'm getting married, and all these things are going on, and I was just stuck in this job, and I was just kind of it wasn't a hard job. It was just it wasn't motivating me. It wasn't fulfilling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I heard a couple things in there, man. Thank you for getting vulnerable with us. It's you got an injury, life happened, so you had to take a pay
Yeah.
cut, and then your wedding's coming up. All
Yeah.
of this, having an injury, taking less money. Talk through kind of those feelings of like, oh my gosh, I have a wedding coming up. And I know you have a family. Talk through
Right.
people like that so they feel like they're not alone if they had this moment of what I would call kind of bottom.
Yeah. So for sure, I felt like I was at I was at the top of a mountain, and I came back down to a bottom of the mountain, and I was just have days where I just ask myself, am I ever gonna be able to build myself up? Am I ever gonna be like a real man and be able to provide for my family and take care of them the way that I want to take care of them? So there was a lot of nights where my wife was like, when are you coming to bed? And it was just like, I would just be sitting there just thinking, like, the pressure of like the debt that was piling up, the pressure of like just like uncertainty. So it was a very trying time, not only with what was going on. I mean, our relationship, there was a lot going on too. Yeah, those kind of financial things, they take a toll on relationships as well. So
Yeah, well, man, I mean, again, thank you, because, I'm hoping that your story inspires somebody because, you had a moment there where you're almost like, and I think that's real. And so thank you because, you're not the only man or woman to kind of hit bottom, being from the
yeah,
top to the bottom mountain, to use your words exactly. And I think it's inspiring to know that you can come from down here to a $17,000 a month signing agent, right? And,
definitely.
yeah, right. And so it's a journey to get there. And then, thank you for sharing yours because I want people to feel like they're not alone, and so, talk to somebody else right now, Brian, that may be in that spot where they can't sleep at night because they're like, can I provide for my family? And talk to someone right now about getting through that moment because, dude, you're through it like with flying colors, you know what I mean? But try to help someone else through that moment and maybe talk some more of your feelings so they know they're not alone.
No, for sure. Like I know there, just from conversations with my friends, other people, I know that as a man, we take so much pride in being able to be a provider, be a good father, be a good husband. And here was like, I could see it on my calendar. Our wedding day is approaching. It was approaching. And it's like, am I worthy enough to be married to this person? Am I worthy enough to like be a father? Like my kids didn't ask to come into this world. I'm supposed to step up to the plate. Again, I just felt like feelings of inadequacy, just like, yeah, man, I feel like I wasn't cutting it. But I know from being on the other side of the journey now that, man, it feels like night and day. Like it feels like sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday that I was there. But like I said, this journey it's been an incredible journey. So like if you are in a place where like I was, just know that you're not alone, and there's a sunshine at the end of the rain for sure. You can make it through for sure.
Oh man, I'm like welling up over here, getting chills. I mean, thank you because you're saying stuff that other people usually aren't going to talk about, and that's what makes it inspiring. And so, let me ask you this question: now that you're on the other end and you're doing $17,000 in a month, how does it feel like when your wife looks at you now or your children look at you now? They're like, Daddy's doing, like you said, making more than 99% of the country, which is a true statistic, by the way, at $17,000 in 30 days. Like, what are your children looking at you like? And how does it feel when your wife is looking at you?
Man, the way my wife looks at me now, she looks at me like she looks like I'm the man for sure. It's a wonderful feeling, like knowing that you're able to provide. It is not about the material things. It's just about like if there's an emergency, like you don't have to like worry. I off camera we talked about some of the health issues that my wife has. My wife has also a skin disease called lichen planus, and it flares up sometimes when she gets stressed. Like she hasn't had a case or outbreak in like a long time. So like, man, when we were down and out, man, she would be covered like sometimes like with those things. So it's just a good feeling knowing that I'm able to do certain things and like without worry. Like worry is the biggest thing. Like I would get sick when I was at that job. I would get sick all the time, and it was not because like my immune system was just so bad just because of the stress and stuff like that. Like I haven't had a cold in over like a year and a half. Like well, like a year now since this like I haven't had a cold in over a year. So it's like, man, it's just a completely different feeling.
Man,
Completely
Ryan, first off, dude, first off, I'm proud of you. I hope you know, I hope I say that enough. You're one of the most inspiring people in our Facebook group, always telling people of what's possible, what they can do. If you can do it, they can do it.
for
So,
sure.
I think it's the duty of the successful to help others reach up, reach back and help other people. And so my
Yeah,
point is like, you're here and you don't take it for granted. I can see that, man. Right.
I don't take it for granted. Like this is not my first rodeo with any type of business or anything like that. So I know like sometimes this industry is recession proof. You've proven that, but I just take it as if like this opportunity could be gone tomorrow. So I'm trying to go as hard as I can because I want to provide for my family. I want to leave a legacy. I want to be the man that they can respect and admire. So
and my man, I'm just saying, like, you're there. Like, and I actually take that back. You're not there. I know you
yeah,
have so much more to go.
no, for sure.
I know you're capable of a 7-figure signing service, if not bigger than that. And so you're on your way there, is what I should say. And I'm going to keep pushing you on this journey, dude, until you get to that 7-figure level.
I
But
appreciate it.
you're welcome. And what I think's cool about your journey is you've had journeys of other businesses failing. And
Yes.
sometimes as a new entrepreneur, they almost take for granted the business that they get because like, wow, I mean, I'm already making 10 grand a month. But I love how, you're using some of your past failures as like, I appreciate every freaking moment of this. I'm going
Man,
to work my tail off because if it is gone tomorrow, it's not going to be because I wasn't working hard enough.
right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. And man, I just want to say thank you for your story. It's like, it's powerful. And thank you for letting people know that they're not alone. Thank you for letting people know that there's a light at the end of that tunnel. It's amazing. This is selfishly why I do this, by the way. I
For
love
sure.
hearing the stories of redemption. I love hearing that your wife's issues aren't flaring up and you're
Yeah.
not sick anymore. I mean, man, it's just amazing what a good business can do for someone, right?
No, for sure. It's definitely like I said, it's amazing. It's amazing. That's why I'm smiling so hard.
Dude, this is like, you're not even, if we're like on a 20-mile race and the 20-mile race is like a 7-figure signing service, we're like on mile number 2. That's the best part. And I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. I just got to keep your head down. I told you this off camera, man. I'm going to say it on camera. You got to keep your head down, build every single day. Your goal every day is to be better than you were yesterday and keep building this thing until you're doing 7 figures because there's no reason you can't. You know that.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it, man. So, I mean, I'm going to kind of, before we transition to the next question, I mean,
Yeah.
is there anything you want to inspire people with? Brian, if I said, if you could do this, do you think anybody could do this business?
I literally I literally think every single person on this earth could do it. It's simple enough. It's like I said, it's simple enough. Once you learn obviously the information. It's funny, like everywhere I go now, I see the world differently because of this business. Like when I'm in the grocery stand or when I'm in the post office or when I'm going to drop off stuff at FedEx, I'm like, are you happy working here? Because like, man, like no, seriously, like at my job, like in a day, like I would have to like manual labor to make like $160 in a day, $20 an hour. It's, $160 a day. I think I posted in the Facebook group yesterday morning. I had a appointment that was a no show, and I was there for like 10 minutes. And I made $160 for doing nothing. So I was like, man, why isn't everybody doing this? Why isn't everybody doing this, man? And for real, it's crazy.
It's the best business. I go, the best kept secret in real estate. I think it's the best kept secret in income. And
Yeah,
what I love about you and the loan signing system family in general, we don't see other people's competition. It's like everyone join the industry. You can
Yeah.
you can make it. There's business for all of us. Would you not say that right now?
No, for sure. Like we're colleagues. We're no competition. It's funny because one of Jessica, you did an interview with her before. We work with one of the same escrow officers, and she knows that I work with that escrow officer, and she messaged me and said, hey, like, she was giving me build and secrets on like how to like build a better relationship with the escrow officer. So it's like we see each other as colleagues and not as competition. And that's literally with the same exact escrow officer and exact same escrow company. It's funny, and she's another LSS student. She's killing it. She was one of the people that inspired me. I was like, man, she's doing this. I'm like, I need to step it up. I even told her, so for sure.
Well, you said something I actually want to touch on, by the way, is and I think this is important because it goes down to the mindset of a big earner that is a signing agent. Is, you saw Jessica killing it, crushing it. You didn't see her success as your failure. You saw her success as something that I then can obtain. So talk through that a little bit just to inspire someone else. Because I say that, because there's some people who might be watching this right now saying, oh, if Brian's making 17,000, I'm only making 5, I must be failing. Versus if Brian can make 17, so can I. So talk about the mindset of seeing some of our other students making more money than you and getting inspired by that.
Yeah, like one of my favorite books is a book called The Science of Getting Rich, and it talks about like not competing on the competitive plane because you have to play by certain rules when you in the competition world. But when you come from abundance, like collaboration and those kind of things can help you excel your business. So like I don't see anything like other people as competition. I see them as colleagues, and I feel like if somebody else is doing X, I could do it too. Like I'm a believer. I believe in God and stuff like that. There's a scripture that comes to mind right now. It says that God is no respecter of person. So like, yeah, if somebody else is doing $100,000 a month, I think I could do $100,000 a month too. Like, I should do 200 if you're doing 100.
It's the truth, and it's the abundance mindset I try to instill in you. You already had it obviously before you came in, but like I said, I really, there's some people out there doing $3,000 a month, and sometimes the scarcity mindset is what's holding them back from scaling their business. And I really like to dig into the mind of a successful signing agent. It's like the scarcity mindset isn't what makes you successful. And the best part, we're going to talk about your journey where you were making $3,000 a month. So it wasn't like this was right out of the gate $17,000. It really was like, if I stick with this, I can do it, and I'm going to build it. And so, that's, like I said, I love these interviews because I never heard of that book, by the way. I'm going to have to read it. I'm a big reader. So
it's by Wallace D. Wattles. It's a dope book. It was written in the 20s or something.
Okay.
It's a dope book.
I love it. I'm literally going to read it. But no, I love it. I love you sharing your mindset because I hope people are inspired by this, right? It's if someone else is doing it, that means I can do it. Because someone else is doing it doesn't mean I can't do it.
Right.
It's a really cool mindset of a big time earner, man. So again,
one more thing I want to say too is like, I whenever I see someone having success, it lets me know that they have a key that can help me get to where they are faster if I talk to them. So like, I don't see it as competition. So like, if somebody's doing X, I was like, well, they have the shortcut to get to there. So let me be friends with them so I can get there faster too. I definitely see it as a roadmap to get there.
I love it. The easiest way to get successful is to copy someone who is successful.
Yeah.
No need to reinvent the wheel. But what I want to inspire some LSS students is, you reached out to Jessica. I know before we hit record on this thing, you told me you reached out to Falcon. And so, I don't think enough LSS students utilize our group network as much as they should. And again, I think that's the mindset of a $17,000 a month signing agent. By the way, Falcon is not even living in California.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that you've reached out to someone who doesn't live in California is really you taking advantage of the platform and network that I provide for your benefit. And there's so many students who don't.
No, for sure, man. I one of my biggest sideline cheerleaders is Megan. I connected with Falcon, Jessica, Alejandro. That's my brother right there. So like, I try to tap into the network and utilize it for my advantage.
I love it. And I love these conversations because they're so organic. Like the fact that you reach out to other people. Megan, I'm guessing Megan Chambers up in Oregon.
Yep. Okay. We talk like weekly.
No way. I love
Kicks me on my butt weekly.
Okay, but see, that's my point. So I know Meg is in Oregon. I know Falcon's in Nevada.
Yep.
Alejandro is in LA. I actually think he's like over like in the Riverside area, right?
Yeah, he's closer to Riverside area.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is not in where you live.
Yeah,
And
not
so
where I live.
it is you really branching out. So I hope LSS students really are hearing this. And it's not like you have one accountability partner or friend or colleague in our group. It sounds like you have like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, I have a network.
That's my point. And so, if you're a loan signing system student watching this, use the Facebook group. A $17,000 month signing agent is telling you. And what I want to maybe touch on, and I know we're going kind of on a tangent here, but I love
Yeah,
it.
sorry about that.
No, it's good. I love it. Is, would you contribute some of your success to these loan signing system friends and family you've created to get you where you are?
For sure. Like if I'm giving specific examples from the people I mentioned, Megan was one of the main people that pushed me to go direct. And then Alejandro specifically, like, he gave me like his game plan on like how he was maneuvering in his, like, basically his playbook.
Yeah.
So I leveraged that, used that in the beginning. And then we'll talk about it later, I believe, in one of the other questions. There was a day where I thought I messed up, and I hit up one of my accountability partners. I hit up Falcon. And he's like, bro, relax. You're good. This is how you rebound from that mistake. This is how you do it. And yeah, I always tap into those networks after, to make sure I'm good.
You're dropping fire. And I hope other LSS students are hearing this. It's like, I think there's for some reason, I think people go about this business by themselves, and like, you don't need to. People almost see it as a badge of honor that like, oh, no one's helped me along the way. And you're hearing a $17,000 a month signing agent.
That's dumb. we bought the course to tap into your years of experience to shortcut our success. It would be dumb to have all these thousands of people in the group that are already doing it and not reach out to those people. It's dumb.
I love
Sorry.
it. No, I love the blog. I kind of agree. I don't know if I want to use that word, but I kind of agree. But I want other LSS students to realize that, like, a $17,000 signing agent did not get here by himself, and he's admitting it. And that's the powerful part about these interviews is like, look, I tapped into 4 or 5 different people of the group where, like you said, in the beginning, you used the word pride. I think sometimes there's a sense of pride in our industry. We're like, oh, I'm not going to reach out to someone else. Or, we're going to talk about a little bit later about how you had a moment of like, oh my gosh, I messed up. And some people feel like they need to deal with those emotions by themselves. And it's like, no, man, reach out to someone else. You don't need to have these battles by yourself. And seeing the vulnerability of a $17,000 a month signing agent tell you, I'm reaching out to different people so I can get help. And it's an amazing story. I love it. And the best part about Alejandro, who I've also interviewed, is he also has an accountability partner. Like, his buddy Jose is kind of his version. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he's a $20,000 a month signing agent. So what I'm trying to say is the biggest hitters in our family all have accountability partners, all reached out to other people. And so, man, I appreciate that. And I almost should have saved that for like the one tip you give signing.
Sorry.
We're going to talk about that later. But let's transition into your income, because I think that's a really inspirational part of this overall journey. And so let's talk about it, right? You've been a loan signing system student for, if my math is right, about 8-9 months?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay, cool.
My very first day I could sign was June 1st.
Okay, cool. So June, how much money did you make?
I got my little cheat sheet right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
June, I did $37.75.
Okay. First, for the record, I think $3,700 in your first month is crushing it, like crushing it. And then how much money you make your second month?
Second month, $5,400.
Okay, and then your third month?
$4,245.
Okay, your fifth month. I'm looking at my notes too over here.
Oh, that month where I did $4,245. My wife and I, our anniversary was that month, so we took like a vacation. We did a little things.
Yeah, love it. And then next month after that,
$3,450.
What month did you make after that?
$3,705.
Okay, so what I've heard right now is over your first 6 months, 5 or 6 months, you're going from anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
Never really scaling it above. So, my question is, what motivated you to keep building this business? Because for the record, I think a $3,000 to $5,000 a month business is great no matter how you cut it.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm trying to tap into this is because, there's some students who get discouraged that they go from 3 to 5 to 3 to 5 to 3 to 5. And not to say that they shouldn't get discouraged, but you never gave up on the industry. So I
Yeah,
want
for
to
sure.
help another student who is going from 3 to 5,000, 3 to 4,000, 3 to 4,000, right? And never really breaking that plateau. Because I think your journey is of a perseverance, right? Where some
Yeah.
people would quit after 6 months. Oh, I've been doing this 6 months and I can't make more than $4,000. But imagine if you would have quit with number 6, you would never got to $17,000 in a month.
Facts.
So kind of talk through that to help someone else who might be, for lack of a better word, toiling in 3 to 5,000, like inspire them to keep going, keep pushing. Talk through those moments for you.
Well, for me, the biggest thing that even though like I wasn't, making the 10 grand a month during those times, is that like I still felt like I was successful. I never compared my journey to anyone else's, even though there was people that started at the same time with me or a little bit after me, they were taking off. I never looked at it like, oh, I should be there. I felt like if I'm making this, I'm making equivalent to what I was making at my job. But I'm doing it on my own terms and I'm working for myself. So I didn't take it like I was failing. I was like, no, I'm doing this on my own terms. So I just perspective.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. I was literally going to say what I heard was the word perspective.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone else heard that, because that's really what it was. And again, that's the mindset of a 17,000 about signing agent. It's like, look, sure, other students might be making 8 grand, but I'm not comparing myself to them. I love that, because I hope people heard that, because too often I always tell you guys, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
The moment you compare someone else, like, I have a lot of students, but I don't nearly have as many as the NNA. I don't compare myself to the NNA. I compare myself to the impact that I make on you, and that is it, right? And I love that you have the same mindset. It's like, it's all about perspective. It's never about comparing my chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 5, right?
Right.
Or even if you're all in the same chapter, meaning you start at the exact same time, you're not getting frustrated that someone's making more money. You're just slowly but surely building your business, slowly but surely building your business. And I really hope, please say something.
I was going to say, like, just from my experience, I know that the income that other people make, like if let's say like somebody's making 10 grand a month and they started the same time as you don't know what they had to go through to get to there. Like, are you willing to take the same sacrifices that they did? Maybe they didn't get to spend time with their family during that time. Maybe they didn't do this. Maybe there's a whole bunch of things that could have happened. And like, you can't try to take somebody's success without taking the journey. So I was happy with the journey that I was on. So there was we need to complain.
That was fire. I hope I don't slaughter this. You can't take someone's success without their journey.
Without it.
Right, dude, that was crazy awesome. Because you're right. I think I have so many different ways I want to go with that comment. Is, the first thing I heard is when you see someone else making 10 grand, they're putting in work.
A lot of work.
Some people see 10 grand and say, oh, they got lucky. Oh, they must know someone in the mortgage industry. Oh, they must have been a realtor in the past. Those thoughts don't go through your head. You're like, look, if they're doing 10 grand, they're putting in work. I respect it. And that's what I love, is the mindset of someone like you, Brian, who's like, when I see someone else making 10 grand, I know they're putting in work. Nowhere in your sentence you say, oh, someone else made 10 grand, they must have been lucky. Luck has nothing to do with it. So are you willing to do what they're doing to get there? Are you want to spend time away from your family?
Yeah.
Are you want to work 12-hour days, whatever they're doing? And I love that you say, God, this interview is so good, man. You're right. You cannot take someone else's success without understanding or taking their journey.
Yeah.
And knowing that if you're making that type of money, you're putting in the work and you respect that work. And while they're putting in their version of work, you're putting in your version of work, putting your head down and going off to the races. So,
for sure. I was gonna say, I know somebody that makes $100,000 a year collecting garbage, but I don't want to get out there and do it. So I can't say like, I can't be mad that he's making 100 grand. I'm not willing to do that. So it's the same. It's the same.
Look, I'm going to take that into our industry. You're right. We have students who are making, let's say, making $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like, they're busting their tail for that 150, and I'm not mad at them. And I just don't really. I have 3 children. I don't want to work 18-hour days, and so congratulations, you're making 150. But I love my whatever I'm making. You know what I mean? And so
for sure.
Man, that's really powerful, man. I hope people are watching this on rewind, because you're literally dropping fire. So I know everything changed around month number 6 for you. And so, what was that change? Tell
Yeah.
people what that change was, and when your business really started skyrocketing.
November of last year, I did 3805. But I was super frustrated where I was. That's like when my wife and I, we start to really have conversations and like, am I really going to do this for real? Am I going to play full out? Like, I know signing services are great. There's no disrespect. Obviously, like, eventually I want to have a signing service. But so I don't mean this from a negative standpoint. I just mean like in their stages to the journey. Like, obviously you normally start with a signing service, you go direct. I wanted to play full out, and I wanted to see if I could do it and really challenge myself and take things to the next level, the next phase.
Yeah. And so what decision did you make in November?
I'm gonna start going direct, start building relationships, do signing service work until like I make it happen, and I'm just gonna live with the results.
Oh, well, I love it. There's a lot of things you said, and I hope a lot of LSS students are hearing what you just said. The biggest thing in December, you said, I'm going direct.
Yes.
Like, I did great run with signing services, and there's nothing wrong with signing services. Like, sometimes you got to cut your teeth with them. Like, signing services are amazing because you answer a text message and you get business, right?
Yeah.
And, they do all the marketing, you do none. But you were like, look, if I want something different, I have to do something different.
Yeah.
Right? I literally made a post on Instagram yesterday that said you have to do something different to get something different. And so in December, you said, I'm going direct. So I love it.
And I talked to you about off camera too. Like, I know from previous experience that like there's a couple ways to scale a business. One of the easiest ways is to increase your profit margins. I knew that by going direct, I would get paid twice as much, or sometimes even way more than twice as much, for doing the exact same work with less worry, like or sometimes with less even work. Some signing service, they don't trust you, so you have to do scan bags, you have to do all these, you have to jump through hoops. If something's wrong, you got to call a signing service, and they have to call a title. It's too many people in the pot. I'm like, let me just go direct and just deal with one person, and just it'll be easier.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I always say working direct is literally the epitome of working smarter, not harder. Literally that saying, that's going direct. I mean, going direct is working smarter. It's working easier. You're making more money. It's like not even a question. It's getting through that comfort zone, right? It's getting through that mind block of marketing, which is the perfect segue to what I ask students like you. Let's take people back to the journey of that first time you marketed direct, right? Because I know you're laughing. I know the story. But, the reason I ask this, Brian, and everybody watching, I think there's a myth that, signing agents that get direct business, are natural born salesmen or saleswomen. They're natural born like, oh, the word no doesn't affect me. Or they're like, you know what? I can talk to anybody anytime. And I want to break that myth down because signing agents like you just have to learn how to work through that fear, work through the anxiety, work through the emotion. So let's talk about your journey to help someone else who's still like scared of marketing direct, because everything changed for you when you marketed direct.
Everything changed. Yeah. So like I'm embarrassed to even say this a little bit. The very first day that I was going to go to our escrow office, I think it was December 3rd. I think I made a post about it in the group. That's the only way I remember the day. December 3rd, I drive into the parking lot and like everything went out my mind. Like my heart's racing. My palms are sweaty. So I'm pulling into the parking lot. I see the escrow office there, and I think I did like 20 or 30 laps in the parking lot, just driving back and forth. Like, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do this? Like, what am I gonna say? Obviously, we have a script, but like, my mind went a blank. Like, so I was just like, am I gonna get out of this car? And then I kept on seeing my kid's face. Sorry.
Please take your time.
I kept seeing my kid's face. I was wondering what story or what lie am I going to tell my kids when I tell them that Daddy didn't have the confidence to go in and say hi. Daddy couldn't get out the car and do what he needed to do to provide for us. I couldn't live with myself and not try. I had too much, too many people counting on me, too much riding on it. I couldn't, not doing it was not an option. I didn't know, I didn't care if it took me 5 hours just to get at the confidence. I knew I was going to get out the car and try and do it for them. So I took out my Bible. I think I started reading some scriptures. I turned on some motivational stuff. I turned on some rap music. I was like, let me pump myself up. Like, hey, come on, Brian, you got this, man. You got this. I think I went through every emotion in the car, like from fear to excitement to like depression. And then I finally grabbed my stuff and I got out the car. And it was like the longest probably 10-step walk ever.
Oh man, I mean, before we talk about what happened next, let me just say, thank you. I mean, that was about as honest as a journey as we've ever had in one of these episodes, and probably not the most honest. And thank you for inspiring everybody, right? That you go through the gambit of emotions. I love how you talked about each one. I loved how you showed each one when you were describing it, man. And I know your children had to be proud of you for making that step in there. I know your wife had to be proud of you. And what I want the biggest takeaway to be from what you just shared, it is your job when you're building your business is to remember why you start building it to begin with. Like that is our job as entrepreneurs. It's like, why did I become a signing agent? Why did I want to get into this? And the moment you hit a mental roadblock, it's to remember that. Remember your why. Remember the reason. And I love how you told everybody, like you saw your children, they were your reason. You saw your family, they were your reason, and you were not going to let them down. And I love how vulnerable and honest you were when you said, what kind of lie am I going to tell them? Like, I'm getting choked up just saying that, man. And it's such a real statement. And you refused to be anything less than a great role model for them. And so as a father, as a fellow father, like I'm inspired by that, because we have to be the best role model for our children. And you were not going to let them know that it's okay to succumb to fear, because it's not okay not to believe in yourself. Right. Nobody says that you have to believe yourself in a moment.
Right.
No one says that. But what you let your family know and everybody hear, that it might have taken you a couple hours, 30 minutes, whatever, but not believing yourself wasn't an option.
Yeah.
Not be able to look at your children in the face and be like, this is what dad did today. Like, that's beautiful, man. I mean, thank you for inspiring me from a father aspect of, like, you're right. We got to do what we have to do to be the best role models. And you keep on using the word legacy, which I love.
Yeah.
Is, leaving a legacy of, like, they could have said no, but not trying isn't an answer. Isn't an option is probably a better word. And dude, thank you for that journey, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of you, as your mentor and coach. Like, thank you for letting everybody know, like, you saw pictures of your children. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful.
I was going to say, I've been hearing no my whole life. Like, hearing no is not like, I can live with that. If I look somebody in the face and I ask for opportunity, they told me no, I can honestly live with that. But like the what ifs, mm-hmm. They drive me crazy to this day. Like other opportunities that I've had, so I didn't want to have that on my conscience for sure.
I mean, look, dude, I know you have had other businesses, and the beautiful part is there's no such as failures. There's such thing as lessons and things you learn from, right? You either win or learn. It's not win or lose. It's win or learn. Right. And so the point I'm trying to make is that if those other failures, those other learning moments led you to the moment in that car.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I'm not going to live with the what if anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing. So all those lessons and all those moments before you led to the moment in the car where you're like, I'm no longer going to build a business with the what if in mind. And so that's the beautiful part about everybody's journey is, every moment of before us is literally building up for the moment. And what I love about you is, one of my favorite saying is, it's when opportunity knocks, we have to answer the door.
Yeah.
And you answered the door that day. So let's continue talking about when you opened up that door and where you are today because of that moment.
Yeah. So so I go to the escrow office. I decided to take something like a token appreciation to because I actually knew the escrow officer beforehand. I didn't know her personally, but her husband took his notary exam the same day I did. So
Okay.
like he was the last person I sat next to. So I'm telling everybody that I'm trying to become a notary signing agent. And people are like, what is a notary signing? I'm just a notary public. Like, I was like, man, I think I bought the Square thing as a scam, right? So, but the guy was like, no, I know what it is. My wife is an escrow officer. Like, once you learn the documents and know your stuff, go talk to her. Like, you know. So I was like, so I went to go. This is the lady I went to talk to. So I'm thinking like it was gonna come freely. Like I'm gonna have this conversation with her. I'm thinking it's gonna go well. And then as soon as she comes out, like I froze, and I was just like, oh hi, I'm Brian, I'm notary. Handed her my business card, and like I literally didn't. I couldn't remember the script. I couldn't remember anything. I just froze, kind of like, and I handed it to her, and I just like okay, and I left. Like I didn't really get a chance to like even pitch her because she was busy. I could tell she was busy, so I didn't even really get a chance to go through the script. So I left out the office, and then I'm kind of like I'm happy that I got out the car, but I'm beating myself up because I didn't like give it like I didn't work, you know. So I reached into my bat phone. I called my bat phone. It's like who's my lifeline? So the first person I hit up was Falcon. I was like, bro, I messed up, bro. Like I went in to go do my pitch, and like I couldn't remember everything. And he said, that's perfect. I was like, perfect. And he was like, this is how I handle those situations. Sometimes the escrow officer is busy. Like even if you knew the script, even if you could have done it, it could have been an inconvenient time that would have been left a bad impression. Like, calm down. This is how you rebound from that. And so I follow what he told me. He's like, hey, just email her and say that do the script and do your work and just live with the results. So I followed up with her and I explained to her like I tried to leverage that like, hey, I knew you were busy.
Yeah.
And then I went into the script, tried to cover up. Yeah, she gave me a signing that weekend. And that started to spark the direct journey.
Okay, I have so many things I want to talk about. One of the first things, again, what I love about these stories, these interviews, excuse me, is the amazing that comes out. And there's some things you did that I don't think you realize you did. You were inside the notary exam talking about your business.
Yeah.
And that led to like, oh my gosh, ABC.
Yeah.
Too many times as new entrepreneurs and signing agents, we're not screaming from the rooftops enough about our new business, about being a signing agent. You weren't even a signing agent yet, and you were screaming off the rooftops, I'm a signing agent. And look at where that road led to.
Yeah, she's one of my best escrow officers now.
It's even more.
Pays me the fastest out of any escrow company I work with.
I love it.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because like if you would have not told people that you're someone you were a signing agent or looking to become, you would never got this lead. And I think that's inspiring because we should be doing more of that.
Yeah.
Like we should always be talking about business because you never know.
Never know.
Realtor whose wife is an escrow officer. Like that's nuts, right? Like what are the odds? And now she's your best client because of somebody you met inside a notary exam. Like get out of here with that. And I don't believe in accidents, right? Not to get weird on anybody.
Yeah.
But I believe you build businesses with intention. And I believe you set your intention very early on. I mean, as early on as taking your notary exam. And so if anybody is watching this, I just talk about your business to everybody because you never know. That's what I heard out of there. I needed to take away. But what I also heard, man, was, she's your best client. It took you 40 minutes of driving in circles, from going through every emotion, from being happy to sad to frustrated to, all these emotions to your best client. Imagine if you would have let the emotions win.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling sometimes some of our fellow students let emotions win. You know what? Oh, today's not the day. Oh, looks like I'm late to my next appointment. And they're making up excuses and they're leaving opportunity. And the opportunity knocked for you. You opened the door. I can't take credit for that, man. And I'm proud of you. And I hope people are getting inspired by this because you could have easily walked away that day, drove away as a better part, but you didn't. I love how you openly said, like, I walked in and I completely forgot the script. Like,
everything,
no matter word, you bombed.
Yeah.
But the winning sometimes is in the doing.
And that's factual too, because after I talked to Falcon, and he told me how to like overcome what I thought was a failure. I felt like this euphoria.
Mhm.
So because I was on a cloud nine, and just from previous experience, I know like when you like are in the zone, or in that on that realm, is like to capitalize. So I left out of there, and I went to, I think, 6 other escrow offices,
Ah,
and one other escrow office that I went to that day, she gave me another signing, I think, the next day. So that was basically two directs from basically my first prospecting trip.
I mean, first off, again, dude, you're dropping fire. I hope people watch the replay. Well, I love the saying that momentum creates momentum, right?
No, for sure.
And you rode the momentum, and it was a purposeful choice. Again, intention is the word I like.
Yeah.
Is you could have like saw that one little small victory as getting in there, but you said, no, I'm going to ride the wave.
Yeah.
Because momentum builds businesses, period, right? It's your job to create momentum, which you did by pushing past that fear and going in. Then once you create the momentum, it's your job to ride it. And that's what
Yeah.
you did so beautifully. Again, I cannot take any credit for that. So, but I hope everyone's hearing how you took one little win and you end up stacking more wins. Because too often we get a win and we go home and we celebrate instead of stacking those wins. Boom,
Yeah.
boom. And then, that one day you have 2 people who gave you direct business.
Yeah.
Fire, man. I mean, this is a beautiful journey. Now you're doing $17,000 a month. So let's keep going on this amazing conversation. I think you've watched enough of these shows to know what my next question is. And that is, I ask every signing agent who's crushing it, if your best friend, somebody asked you like, hey, I need one tip on how to grow my signing agent business, what would that be for you?
Before we get into that tip, so that was basically my December. I don't know if you want to talk about the January and February.
Yeah, do it.
So January I did 12.9K. February I did 17.2K. And it's funny because when you hit me up for this interview, I got to see something that I didn't realize. It was exactly a year ago in February that I messaged you and said I am about to get the course, and I think I talked to you on the phone that day. And then I had my best month in February, like literally a year later from when I bought the course, and it was just like crazy, crazy, crazy.
Those things accidents, man. I think what people also need to hear from that is, you went 6 months working for signing services. You said, I'm all in on direct. And in 3 months, you scaled from $6,000 to $17,000
Yeah.
by riding the momentum. And that's $17,000 in 30 days, everybody. That's not 17,000 over 3 months.
Right.
One calendar month, he made 17. But that's the power of going direct. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is you made a commitment. Signing services were great. I had a nice little business, but it's time for me to go to the big leagues. And you went from 6 to 12 to 17. And we're doing 20,000 this month, right?
I'm pushing for it. My wife and I were going to Miami this month.
Okay.
So it might be April, but
I love it. Hey, you got to deserve it.
No, but for sure that's the target.
I love it. And that I tell every one of your students, you need to reap the rewards of your business. Vacation.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. Make sure you watch the mentorship video on how to make sure you get more business when you get back from vacation.
For sure.
System on vacays and coming back even stronger. So make sure you watch that. It's in the mentorship group. Anyhow, so let's get to that question, man, on what's one tip? Like, break it down. Well, you have the floor. Help another signing agent right now.
My one tip to a signing agent, if it was like my friend or something, is for sure would be to go direct before you think that you're ready.
Let's talk.
And I have a system for that too. Because
put this time out real quick. We'll get into that system.
Okay.
But you said something that I think should not be glanced over, and that is go direct before you think you are ready.
Yes.
So what I heard is you succumbed to a little bit of self-doubt early on in your journey, saying, I'm not ready.
Right.
I'm not ready. So talk through that, because you're not the only signing agent who is still working for signing services, telling themselves the same narrative you did. I'm not ready. Oh, just one more month of signing services. Oh, just 10 more signings. Talk through that so you can help them, because I think that's powerful, man.
I think that most people think that there's an arbitrary number, like I have to do 100 signings before I can go direct, or like I need to have 200, or I need to have X amount of months of experience before I go direct. Like, no one is going to come to your house and knight you and say you're good enough to be a go direct. It's like literally on you. Like, you could just wake up today and say, I'm going to go direct tomorrow. Like obviously you don't have to like cut off signing services when you're starting that process. But some people look at it like it's white or black. I was looking at it like it was white or black. It's not white or black. It's like you should have a mix of everything to fill up whatever you have to do to fill up your calendar. So it's not whether it's signing service or direct. It's like I'm going to start this journey while this other journey is they're simultaneous. So it's not like you don't have to wait because it's not like you're doing one or the other. You're doing them both at the same time in a sense. So
Yeah, no.
and the other thing is like the other part of that is if you feel like I'm finally ready, that means I feel like you didn't really push or challenge yourself. You should feel a little uncomfortable when you do it. Like that's how you really grow. Like obviously, even when like if you're a bodybuilder lifting weights, your muscles grow when you get that tension and stuff like that. You got to have that slightly uncomfortable feeling to grow. So like if you're 100% like, yeah, I got everything down, you probably waited too long, a little bit too long. You should have like, let me challenge myself.
I love it. I mean, there's a few things I want to touch on. A is like, you're right. If you actually feel ready to go direct, you've left money on the table for too long. If you're waiting till
I did that.
Yeah. You've been leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Let's go back to your original topic, which was, you wish your tip you'd give somebody is that they should go direct sooner.
Yeah.
And you talked about a system. So let's talk about the system.
Okay.
Go back there and see if we can help some other people with that.
Okay, so the biggest reason why most people, or at least from just my observation and my own personal experience, the biggest reason why most people don't go direct sooner is because they don't want to risk the relationship of messing up documents for a direct client. So what I tell people, and I've told people in the group, and I haven't seen anybody really share this before on the videos, but this is something that obviously I wanted to provide as much value as possible, is when I tell people, like, if you're going to start the journey of going direct, start with escrow and title companies that are farther away from your house. Obviously, your dream client is the closest escrow company to you. Obviously, 10-minute, 20-minute drive, that's going to be your dream client. Don't start there. Start like 45 minutes away. Start an hour away with those escrow and title companies. So if you do mess up and you do kind of like damage their relationship, it's an hour away. Obviously, you don't want to have like your name out here like that you're not doing it, holding it down. But if you start farther away and then work your way back closer to your home, to your ideal client, then you kind of eliminate that reason why of why you're not starting right away. So start farther out and then work your way back home. Okay. And I got that from an LSS student privately, like took him out for drinks and
love it. Again, your net worth equals your network. My man's networking like a maniac, and I love it. But there's a few things I want to hit right there, okay, which I think is juicy nuggets, I call them. Is you expected a learning curve.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem with some signing agents. They expect to go right into something and do it perfectly. If you anticipate the learning curve, you anticipate there might be bumps in the road, it makes the bumps in the road more digestible, right? You get less discouraged. So a lot of people think, I'm going to go direct, I'm going to be perfect, and they're not perfect, and they get upset, and then they quit, they get fizzled out. And
you're not going to be perfect. Even when you're direct, there's one of the escrow offices, I believe we found out that my wife's uncle passed away one day, and on one of this is like, I think in January or December or January. Sorry, I don't remember when specifically. I believe it was in January. I had 2 signings for this one escrow office. I messed up on 2 files for her. Like I made the same mistake because obviously like I was thinking about the death and stuff. I've never made a mistake with her stuff before. But on the same day I made the exact same mistake. Like I didn't put my name on, it was like a Quicken Loans a file, and on the deed of trust, I didn't put my name as the notary. It's the same exact mistake. I was thinking, I gotta get home, I gotta take care of the kids, and literally I apologized and I went into like, like trying to make up for that. And the next day she gave me 4 signings. So it's like, you don't have to be perfect. You are gonna make mistakes. Those are things that come. But like, yeah, like even you can make 17 grand and still make mistakes.
I love it. I know this was inspiring. I mean, like I said, I heard, like I said, the first thing I heard was, anticipating learning curve. That's okay. Yeah. I think the reason people get discouraged so quick in this business is because they expect perfection out of the gate. I'm like, what in the world are you perfect at the first time you do something? And so you anticipate that. Number 2 thing is you're very methodical of how you market, right? You're like, look, I'm going in directly to business. I'm going to start a little bit farther away from my house. If I happen to take some lumps, it'll be with clients out there. If I
Right.
lose them, it's not the end of the world, because there's
Yeah.
still 18 title companies within 5 miles of my house.
Yeah.
So it's very strategic. And I want really people to hear how a 17,000 a month signing agent is very strategic on how he markets. It's not haphazard. It's not without a plan. It is, I'm going to go here, work my way in closer to wherever my home base is. Fire, my man. Thank you.
Man, there's one escrow company that's like 10 minutes away. I haven't even hit them yet. Cause like I know they're gonna give me a bag. I haven't even hit, and I'm doing well. Like, so like, man.
I love it. And thank you again for being on this interview with everybody. It's been absolutely incredible.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. So let's kind of go back.
I told my wife, I was like, man, this interview is for me, for the culture. Like there's not a lot of people like me that come from. I grew up in South Central LA. I grew up on welfare. Like, there's not a lot of people that look like me doing stuff like this. So I wanted to be inspiration to other people as well.
I mean, dude, this could be like a 3-hour interview, man. I mean, thank you for saying that, because, the reason I do these interviews, man, is to let people know that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can build this business.
Yeah.
As long as you want to put in the work. I always say this business is simple. I never said it's easy.
Yeah.
It is simple, but it takes work. And if you want to put in the work, you can do whatever you want. And the fact that you said that you came from welfare and now you're making $17,000 in a month. Like, when I say that, how's that hit you?
It hits me like a ton of bricks, because I don't know if I can do math that. I think when I was in high school, that was probably like the top of like what we were getting from the government assistance from me. My grandma was getting from me and my brother. I think she was getting like $600 a month. I think that's like less than, or it might be 17 or 18K. Knowing that that's what get in a year, and I make that in a month.
Well, my man, let's do the math real quick. $600 a month is $7,200 a year.
Oh, it's way less.
Dude,
man.
So you were making in a month almost 3 times what you would get paid in a year.
To live off of as a kid, like.
To live off of.
That's crazy.
It's like, I'm like blown away by like putting those numbers together. I mean, yeah, I mean, $600 is $7,200 a year. And you're making that, I mean, you can almost make that in a week. You know what I mean now? I mean, let's be honest. At the next goal, $20K a month, that's $5,000 a week. I mean, like, you're not far off that figure. But thank you for just getting vulnerable and real in this interview, because, I want people to realize that if anyone could build this business, I mean,
for sure.
you put in the work, man. So let's kind of wrap up with the last question I asked everybody, right? And this particular question is geared towards, the YouTube audience, with someone who may not be a signing agent right now, who's on the fence, who's thinking about it, and the reason I ask these questions, Brian, is because, at $17,000 a month, you were still hesitant on like taking a course, becoming a signing agent. I want these signing agents to feel not alone if what you say resonates with them.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind sharing, what was that moment for you of hesitancy of like, could I build this business? Could I do that? If you can kind of dive into that to help someone else who may be on the fence, because maybe your story is theirs.
There was a lot going through my head on why, like, I guess I didn't like jump at it the very first time that I saw it. Obviously I talked kind of through my mental, my mentality as far as like feeling inadequate about certain things. So I wondered, like, could I personally have success in this? Could I, like, no, not like Brian, could Brian do this? Like other people are doing, but can I do it? Can I see myself doing that? And then one of the other things that we kind of touched on before, like off camera, just being 100% transparent. I'm a young millennial. It's obvious I'm African American. I wondered, like, would companies trust me to be out there to be their face? We live in a climate that obviously it's evolving, it's becoming better, but that was still like a real hesitation that I kind of had. Obviously, seeing Calvin, his interview, that was one of the things that, like, okay, I if he can do it and he's younger than me, okay, I can do this too. And then the other thing is environmental. Like I grew, like I said, I grew up in the hood. wasn't exposed to a lot of these things. So I didn't even know if this was like legitimate. I think I told you, like, I talked to one of my coworkers who used to be a loan officer, like, hey, is this guy talking about this? You could make some money as a loan signing agent. Is this like legit? Like, she's like, oh yeah, So yeah, so those are a couple of the things, yeah. And then it's just internal things, like wondering if you could do it. Could you really do it? I know, like I talked about it earlier. This business is one where you're the person that's doing the work. So again, I was just like, can I hold myself accountable? Will I be accountable to this? Like, I've done other things before and I didn't 100% take them serious. Can I play full out? Can I do this? So, yeah, if those were the hesitations for me, but obviously where I am now, like, I'm glad I did make the decision. I wish I would have made it sooner. So if you're a person that's sitting on the fence, this is a great opportunity. You get to tap into your years of experience, all of the mistakes that you've made. We get to basically shortcut our success. It took you a certain amount of time to build a six-figure business, and I'm like 30K away from having a six-figure year. So it's like,
I love it.
you know what I'm saying? In my first year.
Dude, you are so vulnerable. Thank you. There's a few things in there I'd like to touch on. One of and you mentioned earlier on the thing, and I'd like to maybe bring it back up if that's okay, because, the reason I asked that question is I want people to know that anybody can do this business. And, one of the first things I heard is, you're from South Central LA.
Yeah.
You were welfare through high school, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now you're a $17,000 a month signing agent. Like, incredible. And I like, you're inspired. I love these interviews because I'm inspired, man. Like, for lack of a better phrase, you had every reason to play victim.
Yeah.
Right. You could have felt sorry for yourself, coming from South Central, living on welfare, but you didn't. It's so inspiring, man. And to know you kept going through, and now you're making $17,000 a month at 33 years old. Like, that's incredible. There are people twice your age who don't ever make $17,000 a month. You had every reason to quit, every reason to curl in a ball, and no one would blame you, by the way.
Yeah.
But you decided to take the other route of like, look, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring, man. And to know that, you come from welfare to no college to a $17,000 a month signing agent. I mean, I don't know who can't be inspired by your story, B. Yeah. That's incredible. So, you inspire me. Like, I think thank you. I'm going to leave this interview just wanting to go, like, run through a wall because of this, man. And thank you for not giving up. Thank you for persevering, and thank you for sharing your story with us. Because that's amazing. I mean, from $600 a week to $17,000 in a month. I should almost just end the video right here. And all kidding aside, what I heard also, which I think is, thank you for being transparent. Could an African American make money as a signing agent? And I think the obvious answer is absolutely. But I appreciate you walking through that journey. Because I think there's some people who are like, maybe it's not race, but maybe English is their second language.
Yeah.
Or, maybe, they don't feel comfortable because they have a disability, right?
And I'm not the skinniest person either, too. So.
And so I think that you being honest about your insecurities and vulnerabilities is refreshing, frankly. And, to me, it doesn't matter what your race is, what your ethnicity is, your age, your male, female. It comes down to one thing. Are you willing to put in the work? If you want to put in the work, nothing's relevant. It doesn't matter if you're 20, you're 74, if you're African American, if you're Asian, if you're white, if you're Hispanic. If you want to put in the work, you can build this business. But I appreciate you being honest with, like, look, I didn't see many people that look like me crushing this business. And I hope someone else that looks like you, Brian, can see that you can crush this business. Yeah. It doesn't matter, man. It's all about hard work. What would you say to that?
I say that's 100% accurate. And also those things that sometimes that we kind of see as a challenge or insecurities, in this business, personally, if I'm being 100% transparent, they've actually helped me. Like, because I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, there's a growing Hispanic population. My great grandma that raised me, her second husband was from Guatemala. So because I was around Hispanic culture, I learned Spanish. So sometimes I do conduct signings in Spanish. Because I'm an African American, I know that some of my escrow officers feel more comfortable with me handling certain type of clients because they know that I would be more relatable with those clients. So I get more signings based off those things that I thought were going to hinder me from business. I probably get more business because of those things.
Well, I mean, like honestly, like I said, you inspire the heck out of me. What I think is amazing is, like I said, man, you had every reason. I don't know if that's the word. No one would be upset at you if you kind of curled up in a ball. You found every single reason not to and use it as a strength. The fact that, South Central and you speak Spanish, that's actually paying off right now. You're making more money. Like, you're bringing all these moments of your life together, and you're not looking at all these moments like a hindrance. You're like, all these moments, where are the strengths I can pull from them to make me better, instead of saying all these moments are going to bring me down. Where in these moments can bring me up? And I hope people are inspired by that, because sometimes I think people see their story and they want to play victim to the story.
Yeah.
And I think you're an example of someone who didn't, who's rised above. And I think your journey being a signing agent is mirrors your amazing life journey, because, there's a lot of students who throw in the towel because I can't make any more than $3,000 a month. Like, no, you're like, man, that $3,000's amazing. I'm keep going, I'm moving. And then you're like, look, if I want more, I got to do more. And I need to go direct. And like, all those moments that you've had on this amazing journey are because of what's happened behind us. And I always tell people, your story doesn't define who you are, but it helps create who you are.
For sure.
If you allow it. And my friend, I don't know what to say, but thank you. I mean, thank you for just sharing this journey with everybody. I'm inspired beyond my words can say, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And you helped me like check a lot of things off my bucket list, as far as like being able to provide for my family. There were some debts and stuff like that I talked about. I'm like knocking like a bunch of stuff off my bucket list. And yeah, man, without this opportunity, I really don't know where to be. I got furloughed during COVID. So this was like a blessing for sure, for sure.
You're welcome, man. I always tell you students, I'm just the coach. It's the players that make the plays. I can't take credit for your amazingness, man. Thank you again. On the way out, B, I want to give you the last words. If anybody, is there any last words of inspiration you want to give anybody? I think coming from you, it's as powerful as anybody. So is there any words of inspiration and you want to help someone through to get through the end, just kind of drop some fire? I know you're a religious man. I mean, is there anything that you want to say to just help somebody just push through and just get to that place?
Woo. The parting words. It's really about, I think, like, really your mindset is what makes you. If you think that you can, obviously that you can. If you think you can't, you can't. This business is really an internal battle that you have to go through. And you're going to have to go through this journey regardless, no matter what industry you decide to go in. So you might as well do it with something that's going to compensate you greatly for it. Yeah, like, so like if you're an LSS student, dive into all the videos, take what Mark is saying and follow it religiously. Megan and I, we had this conversation before. In the book, The Science of Getting Rich, it talks about people that become rich become that way because they do things in a specific way. You outline this system in a very specific way. So if someone doesn't do it in that specific way, to me, and some people get mad at me by saying it, like, you didn't do the system. So you can't complain if you didn't do the system. If Mark said sign up for all the signing services, that was step one and you didn't do it, then you didn't do the system. If Mark said to call the signing services to introduce yourself, you didn't do the system if you didn't do that. If you get a notification on your phone and you don't call the signing services to get the business, you didn't do the system. So you can't be mad about your results. So that's to the people that are in the group. If you're sitting on the sidelines, if you want anything to change, you have to change. It's not about the system. It's not about anything else. It's on you. for your circumstances to change, it's all on you. We live in a cause and effect world. So if you want your outside to change, you literally have to change the action that you take on a daily basis. And this could be the first step right here. It was the first step for me, so I appreciate it.
Dude, I'm going to end with that. Thank you, my friend, so much. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you at conference with that 20K pin that I'm going to pin on you personally. I'm holding you to that. You got 5 months to get to that goal, man. Again,
I promised my wife I would at least get the 10K. I hit that. So I literally promised her in December. I said, January, I don't care what I have to do. I promise you I'm going to make 10K. And I did. So 20K coming from.
You didn't let her down. Congratulations on all the congratulations on all the success, man.
Thank you.
I'll see you at conference, brother. Bye.
Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's go. Later, brother.
Peace.